Hi guys, this is Nightmare and this will be a quick tutorial video about how to play Tanks 3D. First, let me talk about the tanks. There are various tanks in this game and you need to level up to unlock them. So for example, uh, here, when you log in, you start with the medium tank, which is a little bit heavier than light tank, moves a little bit slower but has more health compared to the light tank. And light tank is usually preferred among top players because it is very fast. Even though it has low health, it can work wonders if you know what you are doing. And the builder tank is a very small tank. It has the advantage of the builder tank is that your small body helps you dodge the bullets more easily, dodge the for example, when you are getting shot with a medium shell, light shell, or a machine gun, it is very hard to hit you. And heavy tank is like a boss. It has a lot of health, but it is very slow. So it is usually not preferred, but some players do play well with it. Um, so okay, for example, when I switch to medium tank, I need to respawn to see my tank. You see it is a little bit slower, has a little bit bigger hitbox, but it is very effective. And even though it is a starting tank, I do suggest people to use it, especially if you are not very good at dodging. You can play with the medium tank. It has a nice balance. Okay, let's switch to other tanks. And actually, when I'm using builder tank, I want to also equip the builder and digger in my weapon slot, which we will talk about more in a few minutes. Okay, so I am still using the medium tank, and you can see, notice how fast I am building, and in a minute we will switch to builder tank and see how fast it starts to build. Okay, I'm respawning again. Okay, let's see how fast it can build. It is not very noticeable, but it definitely builds a little bit faster, which is also another reason to choose builder tank if you want to build walls and dig some trenches. You can do it, and you can see it has very small hitbox, and usually your heavy tank or medium tank is having very hard time climbing uh, these hills when it is very steep, but you can see builder tank can go at 90-degree angles, which is another advantage of it. So okay, let's switch to the boss, the heavy tank. Okay, this is the heavy tank. As you can see, it it is having a very hard time climbing the hill, and I'm not even sure we can go up all the way, but this is a tank. This has a very huge hit size. Usually it is very prone to clusters, vulnerable to cluster bombing, um, but in a close combat, when you are very close with the enemy, they have no chance. If you have full health, you can kill almost anybody with one-on-one, unless they are very good at dodging and keep moving around with light tank. You can't be killed. Uh, but its very slow speed is a very huge debuff because When you die and you respawn, you need to go and reach to the battlefront. And look, you can see from the map where I am located at, and see it is very slow to move forward. So it takes you a lot of time to reach to the battlefront, and you lose a lot of battle time, which puts you behind. So usually if you are playing heavy tank, what you need to do is like you find a cover like this or a small hill, that doesn't matter a lot, as long as you can cover yourself. You go fight until your health drops very much to the last bit. Then you take cover and wait for your health to regen back up. Then you can go and fight back again. If you are using heavy tank, dying is not an option. You must not die if you are using heavy tank. Okay, so let's switch to the light tank again, and let's go over the weapons. When you start the game, you are at level 1 and some weapons will be closed, but by killing tanks and soldiers you can quickly gain experience and gain level to unlock them. It unlocks very quickly, around like 30 minutes. After 30 minutes of playing you can reach the required levels. And you first start with medium shell, digger, and builder. So let's go over them. At the top of the screen you can see my weapon loadout, and what I'm selecting now is 2, and I can switch between them with using numbers, and 2 is the medium shell. As you can see, it has a very good fire rate, and as the name suggests, it has a medium blast radius. And a blast radius is a very important concept. For example, if the tank is at the top and you are hitting here, the tank won't get any damage. But if you shoot here, it still doesn't get take damage from the medium shell. But if you attack here, the tank, even if it is behind the edge, behind the hill, it can take damage. With heavy shell, the blast radius is bigger. So let me load it up. I don't think we need to show digger and builder, they are pretty straightforward. Okay, so now I changed to the medium shell, heavy shell, and as you can see, when I fire it, it creates a lot more damage on the ground. It has a lot more bigger hit size, blast radius, and that could be very important, especially when you are fighting from far away. For example, to hit the tank, the following tank, your aim needs to be much better with if you are using medium shell. For example, with medium shell, okay, I hit it, but if I'm using the heavy shell and let's say I try to hit it, you can see it is almost guaranteed if the tank is within the radius. Okay, and there is also the light shell, which is which deals good damage, not as much as medium shell, but it has a much higher fire rate, so the DPS is higher. It costs money. All other all the weapons except the medium shell and the digger and builder cost money to use. So light shell costs a little money, has good damage. I believe the highest DPS gun is the machine gun, and heavy shell, it has very slow fire rate. So I am holding my space button right now. Look, it is very slow. And I switch to the medium shell, it is faster. And when I go to the light shell, it is much faster. And this is the machine gun. Usually what you want to do is that you want to use your heavy shell for the first hit. It allows you to guarantee your hit and also deal high damage upon first hit. So you can, as soon as you shot the heavy shell, you can switch to machine gun, for example C. So you don't wait a lot of time for a heavy shell to reload. You just immediately fire and switch. That is how the top players play this game. And there is also very powerful but at the same time very expensive weapons. One of them is cluster, mirf, and also mortar, and there are also rockets. Let's go over them. Okay, so this is the cluster, this is the most expensive, and let me switch to the light tank first. Okay, we can switch right now because the enemies are close. No problem, I can just go and take a bath to respawn. Or here is another pro tip. You can just dig yourself a trench. Okay. Then try and climb the trench. You can see at the right side of the screen, it asks me if I want to respawn, am I stuck? This is another trick. You can use it to respawn if enemies are nearby. And some people use it to annoy the enemy and wait in trenches. As soon as you approach them, they immediately respawn and you can find them. That is another trick to annoy your opponent. So, okay, how do we use cluster shell and when should we use it? First of all, cluster shell is most powerful against heavy tanks. I think they take a lot more damage from it because their hitbox is much larger. They get hit by a lot of the shells, so it increases the damage. So usually when you are on the ground and you are on an open battlefield like this, and enemies also in the ground, they are not on the hills, you use your cluster shell to hit the enemy even if you don't see them or you can't aim properly at the time. So for example, I can use the trench, fire and go back in. So this is how you use the cluster shell. Usually you want to fire parallelly, and it doesn't grant you a lot more power or damage compared to heavy shell or medium shell, but there are, like, when you are on open battlefield, it is very hard to hit the enemy, so you can use it to at least give some amount of damage to the enemy. And when you keep damaging the enemy, you prevent them from healing. That is another very important thing. When you get hit, you can hide and you wait until your health regens. But if you keep getting hit, even if you take very small damages, it prevents you from regenerating. So when you are attacking with the cluster bomb and preventing them from regenerating their health, you can also start pushing them slowly and try to catch them off guard. At the same time, if you take it very slowly, your health also regens and you gain an advantage. That is another tactic. So okay, what else? The cluster bomb is done, and this is the mortar. You see the mortar has a different aim. Uh, when you switch to mortar, you notice that my tank's head is turned to the sky. I don't know what is called in English, the tank head, but I will call it tank head. So when you fire it, it fires up to the sky. Then it opens up like a cluster bomb. See, this is your sometimes only option if the enemy is stubborn and doesn't want to go down from the hill and you can't hit them. Then you can start attacking them. For example, let's say the enemy is on the white hill. You can also take cover, like take aim, and then don't lose your aim. Adjust your aim as you move, and then you can start firing them behind the cover, and they will usually see that you are sending a mortar, and they will abandon the hill, but sometimes they may miss it completely and get hit by it. Even if they escape or don't leave, what you need to do is that you first start attacking with the mortar bomb, and then time your mortar bomb with your regular guns. It can be heavy shell, medium shell, doesn't matter. As the cluster bomb, as the mortar bomb starts dropping from the sky, then you want to attack from your position with your regular gun and start pushing. Okay, I see it, and then I start attacking. This is timing the mortar. This is another tactic. Very good player Haggard applies this technique very good. You can fight Haggard from a hill. He will definitely mortar you and then push you, which is a very good technique. Another thing, when you have a lot of gold, you want to use it to your team's advantage, and constantly spamming your mortar is a good way to spend money and pressure the enemy. But let's first look at the map. If right now yellow team and blue team are covering half of the map, which is a huge area, but sometimes even if the team's reinforcements are very high, they will get pushed and squished into a very small area. That is a very good time to send your mortar on them, because you will definitely hit a lot of soldiers and probably a lot of tanks, which puts a lot of pressure onto the team and reduces their reinforcements. Okay, so that is Mirv, I guess. Let's see, which I don't usually use. Is that Mirv? Wait. Okay, let's load out the Mirv. Okay, this is Mirv. This is very small, similar to the cluster bomb, but cluster bomb, as you can see, wait, let me first load it too also. Okay, when you are attacking with cluster bomb, it is affected by the gravity and falls onto the ground, which is why it is very good when you are fighting on the ground. You can attack enemies even if you don't see them or they are behind cover. And also remember, the cluster bomb has a good distance to attack to. You can't attack enemies too far away with cluster bomb, and also if the enemy is too close, your cluster won't be opened into smaller bombs, so it is not very effective. Like, if you are at this range, this is very good. This is very good range. With Mirv, your bomb don't get affected by the gravity, which is very good if you are trying to pressure enemy on the open ground, but they are very far away, like this. But Like some people use it, but I don't prefer it a lot. I don't think it puts a lot of great pressure. So this is one of the rockets. This is the fast one. Uh, one thing about rockets is that they are very good in terms of damage, and if you can't aim to the very far away, you don't trust your aim, you can use it to attack people very far away. Uh, but it is very effective, especially when you are close range. So because it deals good damage and it fires faster than other guns. Let's see. Okay, that guy is almost dead. Right. Let's see. Okay, I find Enterprise. Don't kill me, Enterprise, in my tutorial video. Oh no. Okay. I hope you got the point. Usually when you are on a hill battle and you keep uh, dodging your enemy, like you show yourself, you fire and you go back, and sometimes you start going round and round between each other. That is a very good time to use your rockets. So for example, imagine we are turning around, I can use it like this, which is very effective, because usually, for example, if I could use machine gun or light shell in the same scenario, okay, this is, but uh, if I miss, which is a lot, uh, which can happen more often compared to rockets, because the light shell has very small area, and same thing with the machine gun. But if you are using rockets, you have a higher chance of hitting your enemy from close fights. And this is the other version of the rocket, which deals a little more damage, has bigger impact size, blast radius. But to be fair, I never use rockets. Some people use it. Again, as I say, you need to find your own game style and decide on your weapon loadout. What suits you well is the best. Okay, now I will show you my loadout. I use heavy shell, medium shell, machine gun, and cluster and mortar. Okay. Um, this is how I set up my, okay, and machine gun. Okay, this is my setup. Usually what I do, I use heavy shell. I go around, wandering around, waiting to discover the enemy. And as soon as I see them, I attack with the heavy shell, then switch to the machine gun. Which is also what Alpha and many other top players do. Some prefer light shell instead of machine gun. Okay, wait, let me go to my charger. Okay. And I go around like this. I wait to find an enemy, and as soon as I see them, heavy shell and fire. Sometimes machine gun is important, because that let's imagine the enemy is sitting on the hill like this, and you hit them. Let's imagine someone hit me. See what happens? The ground is lowered, and even if I didn't do anything to dodge the incoming bullets, I am now behind the cover and they can't hit me. In that scenario, you can use one heavy shell or one medium shell, and you can see the tank is still somewhat visible. But immediately after, stop using your shells and use machine gun to attack the enemy. For example, like this, I will use my teammate to demonstrate. So okay, I will first fire the shot, then immediately switch, even before the shell hits, immediately switch to the machine gun. Okay, and then when I'm going defending, when I am defending, especially not when attacking, I usually use a mortar to, if I know the enemy position, I use it to make them leave the hills. For example, imagine I have been defending this hill and the enemy is coming from here, and let's say I am outnumbered, like 5 tanks are incoming and I am alone defending this hill. I fire from here, I take 1 or 2 tanks maybe, or die immediately, but I know my position in the map and I immediately respawn. Usually spawn point is a little bit behind where you are when you die, because uh, you can't respawn on the battlefront. It would be too broken actually. But when you die, you usually start a little bit behind your last death point if you are especially defending. Since you are losing map uh, map cover, you usually spawn a little bit behind. Let's say I have been respawned from around there, and I know when my enemy will reach to the hill, and I use my timer. For example, I know the cluster bomb, the mortar bomb takes around 5-6 seconds maybe, and I say okay, the enemy will go to the hill around this time and they will go before me, so I fire my mortar bomb. One thing mortar bomb has a huge disadvantage is that the enemy can see you shooting mortar, and you are basically giving away your position to the enemy, so it is not good for surprise attacks. But if 5 or 6 tanks are coming right at you, it is very hard to surprise them, so usually I use the mortar bomb. But if I am defending against 1 or 2 strong players, especially, for example, if Alpha is coming at me, but he doesn't attack like that, but let's say um, let's say who is online right now. Okay, I can't spell his name, but Kokapelli is a very good player and he is a very good attacker, and he usually attacks with 1 or 2 tanks. He doesn't like fighting a very crowded battle, so if he is coming at me and I have been dead and respawned in the back, then I won't use my cluster or mortar to give away my position. Instead of directly going from to the hill where I have been dead, I will silently go behind a cover where I can see him before he can see me. For example, when I'm behind this hill, you see I can see what is in front of me, but if he is around there or there, he can't see me. But if he is very close to here, of course he can see my name tag, but you can't do anything about it if you have respawned very near your death point. Usually your name tag gives you away, so in that case you can, if you want to use a sneak attack, you need to spawn a little bit behind the battlefront. Most of the people, especially guests, they are usually uh, not very long time players and very low level players. They don't recognize the name tags. So, see, I don't. Okay, I want to demonstrate something. Even if I am behind the hill and I can't see that tank, I can see its name tag. Okay, he keeps going around. But let's see. See, I can see the tank, but I can see its name tag if he is very close to me. Stop going away, guys. I swear this guy is. Okay, see, I know there is a player under the hill because I can see his name tag. Some people miss it completely. And one thing I want to mention is that, as you can see, I know how Coach Opelli plays. I know that Baja Dreams, he is at the top 2 right now, uses heavy tanks. I know how he plays. And it is very important you recognize some players, especially regular players and their play style, and play accordingly. For example, if I see a guest, I won't try to dodge him very much because I know he won't easily hit me. Even if he hits me, I can immediately switch to machine gun and take a quick kill. They usually very bad at aiming, and they are not. They are usually using medium shell, and I can use one heavy shell and some machine gun, or one heavy shell and 2 medium shells to destroy them. And usually they are using the medium tank, which is, as you can see, a lot more slower compared to the light tank. Um, but on a hill it doesn't really matter. So I can dodge them very easily if they start attacking me, or if I recognize they are playing good. Okay, let's wait for the next round. Okay. So what else? What else? What else? So peaking is very important, and for this strategy, you need to be above and on a hill compared to your enemy tank, and take cover, go attack, and immediately go back to your cover positions there, so he can't hit you. They can hit this part, especially if they hit it with heavy shell. You will surely get splash damage, but it is very the damage is very much lower compared to the direct hit. When you directly hit the enemy tank, you will hear a satisfying hit sound. And if for example I hit the terrain and the enemy gets a splash damage, you don't hear that hitting sound. So when you are peeking and attacking, try not to peek from the same place twice. Try to be unpredictable. For example, attack here, and then like fake going to the left. Your tank is showing a little bit of from the side, so they are seeing where you are going, so they can predict that you go to the left, and they will attack here. But you can just do this up, and then go right. Like dodging is very situation dependent, and also you need to know your enemy's attack patterns and recognize them. and dodge accordingly. Like one dodging pattern doesn't work for all the enemies. And similarly, you can recognize your enemies attack patterns and shoot your bullets and predict where they are going. For example, let's go and fight. Let's fight! It is fight time! Usually I'm on the red team, but for this tutorial it doesn't matter. Uh, you can fight in any color you want, but my clan, Tek Türkiye, usually prefers the red team, so that is where I am. Okay, but see, as soon as I hit the heavy shell, I switch to the machine gun. See, there is a guest here, and he is either AFK or he is just trying to understand what is going on. Sometimes you can just ignore them because, like, this enemy, is this a tank? No, this is a real player. This enemy is a lot more threat to me than this AFK player, so always decide on your priorities. Is this soldier a more threat to me than this? Yes. Usually soldiers are very like dealing high damage when you are especially using the light tank. See, this guy didn't even recognize that his friend dead. So that is also another thing. Make sure you have the situational awareness and check your surroundings always. Almost all top players immediately recognize that their friends have been dead, and they will turn around and start fighting you because they prioritize the immediate threat compared to the enemy on the next hill. For example, if I am fighting an enemy on the next hill, up front me, as soon as I go behind my hill, he is no longer a threat to me, unless he uses the mortar. Even if I see they started to use mortar because I took cover, it still has a very long time to reach to me, so I can start fighting and prioritize the tank that is attacking me. Sometimes you can find yourself in a tricky situation. There is an enemy on the hill, there is an enemy on your side, and one you see starts to pushing, and you don't know where to take cover. I always think like this, like who is the best player, who has the lowest health. For example, I know a very good player is right on here, and like somewhat good player or some guest player or bot tank is started pushing me from here. Instead of going for the best player, which is on this side, I start attacking the noob, and then I kill the noob quickly with a heavy shell and the machine gun, and then I start fighting with the other guy. And if that fight took me to a low health, then the pro player would almost certainly kill me, because if I'm low on health and I can use my dodging skills as an advantage to the pro player, then he will surely kill me. Then I try to delay the fight, try to regenerate health, try to use the terrain to my advantage, so that I can either take help from my friend, or he makes some mistake and I capitalize on his mistake. Okay, so Tony keeps killing me. He's ruining my tutorial, but that's okay. He's a very good player. We are almost on the same level, I say. but everyone has their good and bad days, except Alpha Series, which is a very good player, and I know I mentioned him a couple of times. What makes him unique is that he doesn't like what currently Tony is pushing very aggressively. Alpha has a different playstyle. Usually he plays where a lot of the colors meet. For example, on very usually around the center of the map, unless the team needs help on the side. And instead of constantly pushing hard, he uses heals to his advantage. Uh, attacks, kills the tank, and then takes cover if he is hit. He regenerates, and then by Tony, and then he starts fighting again. He's usually fighting with his team. He is not a lone soldier, but he of course has very good PvP skills. And one thing he uses best is that he utilizes the heavy shell and machine gun pattern very good, and he uses heals very effectively. Like, let's say you are the teal guy and I am the alpha, and like he fires and then immediately goes back. He doesn't let you hit him back. He wins the trade, and if he wins the trade, he wins the fight. Definitely, he keeps his health up, and for that, your internet connection also needs to be stable, and you need to have a low ping. Sometimes some people don't have access to the good internet. In that case, you can't incorporate this heat battling style. Like you can do it for against a lot of players, but you can't fight with the alpha with your with the high ping. For example, when I fight with alpha and like my internet is not very good, then I, instead of going to a dodging battle with alpha, I try to sneak attack him. Like, I want to hide my position. I don't want him to recognize me and kill me immediately. Like, I hide, then I attack, and if he starts a dodging fight with me, he peeks and shoots, I peek and shoot, I 100% lose that. So what I do is that I see alpha here and I know, I recognize his pattern and he will go to there. Then I shoot here. Even if I see him here, I shoot here. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but directly attacking where he was doesn't work because he's like moving like crazy. You can't hit him when he's moving like crazy, and he does never stand still on his ground. He always dodges. One thing very common amongst top players. You can't find them sitting idle and shooting. Like, I never shoot like this. Most of the players don't shoot like this. And when you are fighting from very far away and the enemy has the higher ground, you can't shoot them like this. For example, if I shoot like this, you see it seems like I am going to hit, then my bullet drops, my shell drops. What you need to do is that use your aim and recognize the distance. For example, I know around this distance, this part of the aim will be able to shoot the hill. So I see it is very close, but it didn't shoot. Then I lower it just a little bit and then shoot again. It didn't. I lower it again. Okay, I know now that it shoots. It hits. Then when I'm fighting from here, I know the distance, and then I go attack like this. Usually, when you are fighting, you need to stay on the same ground, respawn on the same spot. So you recognize the terrain. So if I have a fight on this side of the map, then go immediately to the other side. Like, I don't recognize the area, I don't recognize the players. Usually same players will fight on the same side for a long time, so you start to recognize their attack patterns, their dodging patterns, and use it to your advantage. Okay, what else? One very important thing, I am sure you will learn this with experience. When you are climbing a hill, you are very vulnerable because you can't dodge easily, and even if you want to dodge, all you can do is go back down, and they can shoot you from there. And when you are going uphill, you can't aim properly. You need to adjust your aim to the hill. For example, now there is a guy here, I think. Okay, when you are going up and you try to shoot the enemy here, you want to see where my aim is showing and where my bullet is going. Your aim and your tank's turret is very different because you are shooting to the very near target. Even if my aim shows here, you need to imagine your aim as a laser going from your turret's head to your cursor. Okay, what else? I think we covered a lot of things. There are some other, like, overall map strategies, which side you need to pick when you are fighting, where should you go. But I guess they are very situational, and without a pen on my screen, I don't think I will be very clear to explain. See, that guy is dodging me. Now I switched to cluster. I think he's that one. If he wasn't there and he kept dodging me and I couldn't shoot him, then I would use the cluster and guarantee some damage. Not as much damage as my other shells, but since I can't hit him, there is nothing better than hitting him with less damage using cluster bomb. Okay, I think this is it, guys. If you want me to talk about any other topic, please let me know. And please also let me know that if this tutorial was helpful, and you can write your nickname and how long you are playing, which level are you, on the comments. Yeah, I hope this community grows. Like, not my YouTube channel, like I don't have a YouTube channel. I just use the fake email account to upload my video. But I hope the Tanks 3D community grows and more and more people start playing this game. I like this game. See you around.